Wow. Just wow. That's really all I can say after watching episode 21 of Ranking of Kings today. This series is truly something special. Just the sheer amount of emotions in this episode alone are staggering. Truly one of the most underrated series I think I've seen in a very, very long time. I actually teared up a bit watching this episode of Ranking of Kings because it was nothing short of incredible. Wit Studio, man. Before we even get into it, let me talk about Wit Studio for a sec. Just kind of gush about them a bit because, oh my god. You hear people say all the time, oh man, my favorite studio's Madhouse. My favorite studio's A1 Pictures. Nah. For me, it's got to be Wit. Wit Studio. Just the sheer level of quality that they put out is unbelievable. They did Attack on Titan for years. They did ReZero, which is one of my personal favorite series. They've done Ranking of Kings, which I'm blown away by how incredible it is. And even now, they're working with Cloverworks to bring us Spy X Family. And they've done so many other series that I'm sure I'm not giving them enough credit for. And they are an incredible studio. That's all I can say. They are by far my favorite studio, I think. I don't even think it's close. They put out such unbelievable work. It's insane. But let's get into this episode of Ranking of Kings today. Because, boy, do we have a lot to talk about, actually. So let's really just get into it. Because our episode begins with on a little bit of a sad note, actually. Because Boss, having defeated Oaken, or at the very least subdued him in our last episode, is now turning towards our characters, ready to fight them. And he gives them an ultimatum. He said, if you try to take Daida's body back from me, I will kill you. But if you join me now, I will spare you. And we can just see the shocked looks on everyone's faces, but Bocchi steps up. He steps up because he knows what he has to do. And then we get a little bit of information from Miranjo today about why she's done what she did. Because it turns out, giants can only have one child. Queen Sheena could only have one child. And she had Bocchi. And to save Boss's life, he needed to keep having children, to sacrifice their energy to keep him alive. And since she could only have one child, they were in a predicament. So Miranjo took it upon herself to attack the kingdom, as we saw in the previous episode, and kill Queen Sheena to force Boss to have to remarry to have another child. And that's how he met Queen Hilling and made Daida. And what a terrible thing to do, honestly. We see that Miranjo is racked with guilt, but we're far past that now. So, Boss and Bocchi square up with each other. The 4 pillars of the kingdom do come in to support Bocchi. And we see bits of flashbacks with all of their history with them. And we just see how much they've truly cared about Bocchi over the years. Even Domas, who is racked with guilt upon what he's done to Bocchi, stands up for him and fights for him against Boss. And it's an inspiring scene to see these people who've been with him his whole life finally supporting him in becoming a king and stopping Boss. It was quite an emotional scene. But Despa snaps him out of it very quickly, like, no, you guys have to get out the way. The only person who can and who frankly has the right to fight Boss right now is Bocchi. You will just get in the way. But Domas won't have it. So he charges straight at Boss. So Bocchi has to subdue him. And it's at this moment right here that Bocchi truly looks like a king to me. He stands tall against Boss, and their battle starts. And it was insane. The sheer magnitude of it all was incredible. Now, Boss wasn't in his own physical body, but the interpretation of their fight was nothing short of breathtaking. To see the absolute scale of how their fight would be if Boss was in his body is incredible. Bocchi's jumping from building to building, going in between them, fighting Boss. And just the emotional impact of each swing, you can just feel it. Every time his club and Bocchi's sword connect, you just feel it inside. Just all the emotions, all at once, just coming out with each swing. And it's incredible. Wit Studio has a way of bringing out emotion in the most littlest of details. I think they excel at that a lot. I really do. They excel at bringing out emotions because this whole scene was incredibly emotional. Because with each swing, Boss gets pushed back a little more. You see the crack form in his weapon ever so slightly with each interaction between him and Bocchi. And it was done exceptionally well. And eventually, Bocchi destroys his club and takes Boss down. And we see the representation is done. We see Boss in Daida's body struggling to even stand after that point, but the fight continues still. Bocchi just keeps hammering into him over and over and over again, to the point where Boss can do nothing but crawl, and he crawls right to Miranjo. And they start crying together, because Boss blames himself completely for what Miranjo has become. And if you think about it, he really is at fault. She's done all these terrible things, but she did it for him. He's the only thing in her life that gave her meaning. And because that was the case, if you think about it, Boss failed in protecting her. He wanted her to be happy, to get her smile back no matter what. But in the process of doing that, he realized he was the one that was making her the most unhappy, whether it was intentional or not. So he wants to take Miranjo out with his own hands, saying, "Let's go to the afterlife together." But we all know from the previous episode, Miranjo can't cross over. So we're at an impasse right here. And Bocchi looking on this, Boss about to shatter Miranjo's mirror. He doesn't know what to do. Until Kage, Kage is one of the best friends ever, dude. Get yourself a friend like Kage. Because he physically and metaphorically gives Bocchi the push he needs to go in there and to stop Boss once and for all and save Miranjo. He does. He takes him out. And as Boss is lying there, Miranjo begs Bocchi to kill her, to put her out of her misery. That's the only way they can save Daida from Boss's body. It is the only way. And Bocchi is not certain what to do. Kage even says it himself. As I was watching the episode, Kage even says what I was thinking to myself, like, how could you make Bocchi do this? How could you make Bocchi, of all people, have to make a decision like this? But he does. He does. Because he realizes that to be a king, you have to make the tough decisions. You're the heart and soul of the kingdom, in Boss's words himself. Those are his words earlier in the season. You are the heart and soul of the kingdom. Sometimes the king has to be firm and resolute in their decisions. So he approaches Miranjo, and with tears in her eyes, as her mirror cracks and shatters, she tells Bocchi, "Thank you." And their souls, Boss's and Miranjo's, both leave their body when her mirror shatters. But it's also at this point that the demon shows up, which we've known about forever. I kind of figured he would show up. But man, just seeing him there after everything that happened, I got to admit, it made me quite sad. Because as their souls are passing on, Boss's and Miranjo's, they quite literally fly out. And as their souls are passing on, we see the demon jump for them. Quite literally jump for them. And Boss is horrified because as they're leaving, Miranjo tells him, "I'm sorry, Boss. I can't follow you. You can't betray a demon," as the demon swallows her soul up. And Boss, tears in his eyes, completely desperate, passes on, knowing that Miranjo was eaten by the demon. And he begs, in his last moment, he begs Daida, of all people, to help her. And I was thinking to myself, that doesn't really make sense until we realize that Miranjo's soul is inside of the demon. And it's here that she gets flashbacks of her past when she sees a small demon child. And she sees the monstrosity that he has become, as he's also in there with her, devouring more souls very grotesquely. And that's how our episode ends. This episode was truly incredible, guys. That's the only way I know how to describe it. There was so much emotion, so much feeling behind every single scene of this episode. It was palpable. Even the crazy angles of the camera really really showcase just how much love was put into this series. This episode alone, I might actually call a masterpiece. But now with Miranjo's soul inside of the demon, Boss defeated, what's next? What's next for in the series? I feel like we're finally going to learn the story of the demon in our next episode. And if you think about it, Oaken's not dealt with yet. He's only subdued. There's still much to do, but I believe Bocchi can do it. You guys let me know what you thought about this episode of Ranking of Kings down below, because I thought it was nothing short of a masterpiece. This might be one of the most underrated series I've seen in such a long time. I truly think it's underrated. I can't believe I didn't check this out when it was airing. Like I've told you guys before, I like watching shows after they're done because I like watching them all at once. But I could just imagine the feeling I would have watching this week by week, like I'm sure a lot of you did. And it's just, I want to get to the next episode. I want to watch the next episode really badly because this episode was nothing short of spectacular. But like I said, let me know how you guys felt down below. And yeah, I think that'll be it for today's incredible episode of Ranking of Kings, episode 21. We have 2 more left in the series, guys, and a decent amount to wrap up. I truly hope they do it well, but after seeing this, I know they will. But until next time, guys, I hope you have a great day, week, month, and year. And until then, deuces, and have a blessed day.